Hey everyone, how's it going? This is M.L.S. Weech, and welcome to another weekly episode where we look at some book covers, talk about why they're awesome, maybe offer a few ideas on how to make them even better, and then I let you vote for your favorite in the link down below. And speaking of down below, would you please be kind enough to pretty much click every single thing you see down there? There's a bell, there's a subscribe button, there's a like button, and on a personal note, my author link is also in the link down below because I am a self-published independent author. And I would appreciate it if you went to that link, looked at some of my books, and see if any of them interest you. More importantly, though, we like to talk about the book covers. We like to talk about why they stand out. And I want to get started by announcing the winner for last week. This is the first week of November. And the winner from last week is a novel called The Doorman, and that is by Victor Godinez. Victor Godinez. And I liked this cover because I like that you have these concentric circles, but it looks like each circle goes to a different location. I think the composition is good. I think the color is good. So congratulations to Victor Godinez and The Doorman. It is the first entrance in the November Book Cover of the Month poll, which we will have after we pick another 3 covers. Right now, we're still doing the October Book Cover of the Month, where we have the 4 winners for the month of October. And you can pick your favorite of those 4 so that we can create what will become the Book Cover of the Year bracket, where we have 12 covers and one winner takes all, and we have a champion for the year of 2021. But I digress. We've named the winner from last week. We have talked about October, and now we can start talking about the book covers for this current week. And the first one we're going to talk about is Clash of Singularity by Shard Bindle. And this cover has very good color, very detailed art, and an interesting artistic style. And this is the one we're looking at. So I think that the silhouettes are interesting. I like the style of the hair, that it's not just like a normal hair pose. There looks to be some sort of movement, some sort of wind. The use of titles, the use of text is very, very strong. I normally don't like red on any design, but if you have enough contrast and it's legible, then I'm going to get over it. So nice use of color, nice, interesting artistic style, interesting use of silhouettes. So it's just a pretty solid cover. Next cover we're going to talk about is Red Bounty by J.N. Chaney and Terry Maggart. So I wanted to look at the names before I brought it up because it only has the last names on the cover. So I don't typically like covers that have humans on them and I can't see their face. It feels a little weird. If you want me to look at a cool jet, then show me a cool jet. If you want me to look at this really awesome person, then show me the really awesome person. So this one still stands out, though, because the reason the person isn't looking at us is because she's working on the jet. It's more of an action shot. I wonder if this could have been rendered from a more side profile where I still get kind of all the elements that I'm looking for. But at the end of the day, the color is still nice. I think that's a ponytail I'm looking at, or whatever it is, a gear of some sort. I think it's a gear of some sort, or a piece of gear. It's really interesting color, really interesting detail. And so those things kind of stand out, even if I don't have an eyeball or two to kind of connect with this specific character. The next cover we're going to talk about is Old Tech by, I think his name's David Edward. Yes, it is. It says D. Edward on the actual cover, but there he is. And here's the cover. Very interesting color choice. It's dominantly blue with some splashes of the red-orange that we have in the lights. This feels very much like Battlestar Galactica to me. And so whenever I have a cover that I look at and it connects me to something I like, it's going to draw my attention more. And that bias may be why it's here. The composition is good. The color and the rendering is good. The detail in the tech suits is also interesting. I am not a fan of this random blue stripe along the side with the old tech there. I just don't think you have to do that. I mean, you could just as easily have brought the author text down and put the old tech up at the top. But what you got is you got this weird blue stripe that's pulling the eye away from the really cool mechanical figures that you have there. But the mechanical figures are still there, so it's still a pretty worthy cover. The next one we're going to talk about is The Intended by K.M. Rives. Might be Rivs. If I'm incorrect, I'm very, very sorry. I'm just doing my best here with these names. This is just very good human rendering. I didn't really look like super deep, but even as I studied a little bit more now, I'm seeing nice detail in hair, nice use of modeling. It's a little weird that like it fades to this other like black red kind of pattern going on down there. But anytime you render a figure that well and you surround that figure with light, you're gonna have some interesting things. The hand positions are weird. What I think she's doing is like literally like summoning up a spell. And if I am right, then I'm okay. But if she's not summoning up a spell, I don't know. Maybe she's playing patty cake with a ghost. I don't know. But the idea is the quality of the rendering and the quality of the light on the figure are worthy of note, and I think it stands out. So if you think it's your favorite, you can vote on it in a link down below. Next cover we're going to talk about is Galaxias by Stephen Baxter, who is a Sunday Times bestseller. At least it says so on the cover. I'll believe it. On one side, it's just a planetscape. You got like a big old red thing. Obviously, the planet's exploding. It's a little dynamic. But what honestly really draws me is the manner in which they have the elements coming away from the planet. That takes a lot of detail, a lot of effort. A lesser designer would put like a big white light, like, when you're looking at an explosion, it tends to overexpose for a little bit, and then you can get away from it. But taking that time to add that little detail to show that movement in it was a step in a very, very good direction, in my opinion. Whatever this text is, I fiercely intelligent, maybe. This is why I don't normally like red text on a book cover. It's very hard to make out. Now, I'm going to be more naturally affected because I'm red-green colorblind, but I don't know if someone with good color is going to be able to see this. If you do, if you can read it, fine. And I'm just a crazy colorblind guy, you can let me know in the comments down below. I won't take it personal. But I think you could have sampled the orange from this planet that's blowing up, and that would have also helped with the unity of the whole design. Now, the individual is a bestseller of some sort, so clearly he's doing something right. But that's my critique on the cover. Still, the detail on that planet, the way it's crumbling apart, that's really cool. We got two more to look at, and then the next one we're going to look at is called A Trial of Ice and Blood by Alexander Lound. This is another monochromatic cover, and they're kind of hit and miss with viewers. But the rendering of the figure is still very, very interesting. I wish the light was a little bit better. The monochromatic scale leading from gray to white, I guess it's not monochromatic when you have gray and white, but the dominant whites with only a dark gray on top of it cause great contrast. And when that figure is contrasted well, then it stands out enough in and of itself, which is why it's here on this show. And I've selected it for you guys to vote for if it's what you want to vote for. But I feel like this needed a little love in terms of light. On one hand, I can respect the accuracy of the scene, because if you have an overcast sky with a big old blizzard, you're not going to have it's going to be flat light. It's going to look just like this. So it's rendered appropriately to what the light would look like. But, maybe give the guy a torch, maybe something else. I don't know, some kind of element to help him stand out a little bit more from that white background, and to shape him a little bit more so that the eye doesn't seem to kind of skate off him. Now, the the contrast between the dark gray and the white is still enough to help him stand out as a whole, but it's not enough to shape him. And that's my problem with it. So I would have just added some element, some lighting element, and some shadow to create a little depth, a little separation. But it's still very, very good detail. It's still very well done. It still has enough contrast to be visible. So it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Last one we're going to look at today is Dark Protector. This is the second Darkblade cover we looked at, and I sincerely hope it's not just the same one over again, but I have to go back and look to check. Usually, though, I have a 90-day, I set the search for 90 days, and that kind of keeps me out of that little problem. But anytime you have a really cool figure and you render it with some wicked-looking knives, you have some good detail on the cloak, it's great composition. The font choice is part of the series as a whole, but it's still a good, interesting looking font choice. I like I said last week, I don't like that the series text is bigger than the text of the book, because that will always confuse me. If I'm trying to buy your book, I'm going to search this one thing, and I don't want to look for like 15 books that are in the series. I want to find the one book that I'm looking for. However, most people just do it the way they're doing it. Even some of my favorite authors, it will still annoy the tar out of me, but it's just something that people do. But I wish they wouldn't. The color is good. I think this little inverted triangle here is pretty interesting. It does allow you to put a counter, like this is book 2, this is book 3, that kind of stuff. But I don't know that there wasn't a different way to make that annotation. I think I can appreciate that they made it an opaque layer so that I can still see the sword in the background behind it, if in a muted way. So ultimately, it still holds up because that's a pretty awesome looking figure, and those are some pretty wicked looking blades. But those are my thoughts on those 7 covers. Those are the 7 covers you have to choose from. I thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. Please tell your friends. Please remember to vote so that we can support these authors and these artists and get their names out, even the bestsellers. Who doesn't want to sell more books? So thank you again for joining us. Have a wonderful week, and God be with you. Bye now.